is a long time. I've been holding this off on a long time, but I'm gonna try and keep this quick. There are three things, well, not necessarily three, but here are a few things that I am going to compare to RoboCop because I think it's a little bit too late for a review of it. I'm about to just speak out some things, man, about why I made it passable and why I think that they really fucked this movie up. So, going off for these few things, I'm about to start off in the beginning, okay? In the beginning, we have the drone warfare message in I forget the Iranian country, but they have the drone robots coming over, and they are basically, people have to come out of their houses, they have to line up, show their fingerprints, and pretty much they have to kind of like, you know, do all this stuff here. And honestly, it's it's an invasion of privacy, and they ask like, how come man the American people, they don't like it? It's because people have to fucking leave their houses at like a certain time and get their fingerprints scanned for stupid shit, you know, stuff like that. And honestly, it is a problem. And also comparing this to the original RoboCop, it's like, if you look at the original RoboCop, when they did honestly have, man, all of the robots and everything, they were faulty. They malfunctioned, and they honestly did go against programming. So honestly, for them, man, to honestly have somebody who is like RoboCop, it does make perfect sense for them to have a robot with human conscience, because, you know, because he's not really going, man, to make as many mistakes as this robot, which does have, you know, all these super fucking arm cannons and shit. However, that is the first thing. It is the drone warfare idea, and honestly, that like most of these robotics, there really isn't a problem with them. They're perfect. They never function. I mean, man, they never malfunction. And honestly, it kind of boils down, man, to a thing of the only reason why the American people, why they don't necessarily want it, is because of the fact of the fact of it's a privacy thing, you know. Then going on to number two, Detroit and RoboCop as and the reason behind RoboCop, and the villains. I'm pulling three here together, but, you know, in terms of, well, now comparing this to the original RoboCop, we did have a thing of Detroit was in a super fucking terrible state, okay? There were fucking gangs everywhere. There was crime everywhere. People, man, robbing stores. People kidnapping police and fucking killing them. There was... Police actually had, man, to like wear fucking riot gear to go on regular goddamn patrols and shit. And there was a big emphasis upon, man, the thing of it is practically a war zone out there, and really we need something like a humanized tank to stop them. And honestly, the Ed 209s were out because, again, like my first point, these damn things, man, are out here mowing down like people who have already given up. So that is a thing. And honestly, for this one, for the remake, Detroit seems okay. Feels like a very different movie. It's like we don't have any street gangs. We don't really have any crimes. There really isn't anything in which that like we really need, man, to be taken care of. So really, even if Murphy, he did kind of get hurt, and he did become RoboCop, there really isn't a reason for him to be RoboCop, because again, in the original, it was a thing of like cops are getting killed, and there was a thing of we need this battle tank to kind of take off all these fucking people. For this one, it's just a super cop who just has the who has the entire crime database in his head. And yes, everything about that scene that you hear from everybody else about them trying, man, to download years of information into his fucking brain, and then, man, he crashes like fucking 5 minutes after, man, he has to go out and be presented to the world, was by far the stupidest fucking scene ever. But however, I digress. Going on from that though, Robocop as a character, or at least like how he's presented in this movie, or when he is presented to the world, is like as soon as he is presented, the first thing he does is pull out his gun and shoot people out, and shoot a criminal out in the middle of an open crowd, and it fears people, and people are fucking scared of that. And there is a thing of then man, he just catches him, cuffs him, and then takes him away, and everybody treats this as if it was a good thing. You know, whereas like again in the original RoboCop, when RoboCop was presented, a lot of people were honestly skeptical about it, and they were like, "Oh, you know what I mean? I'm actually fearful of this gigantic metallic man with this fucking super ass gun and shit." And here's the thing about that: in this new one, he's not necessarily acting like a cop. He's actually just acting more like a fucking enforcer, a guy who basically just says like, "Hey man, you have hey man, you wanted for something criminal? I'm gonna shoot you in the back and then take you in." That's about it. It's like just sees people up on the wanted list, finds them, shoots them, and then takes them in. That's kind of what he does. At least in the original, he kind of at least like held up some type of police law and only pulled his gun when necessary. In the new one, he's just like a trigger happy fucking guy, man, who he broke into somebody's like he caught some dude coming out of his house. It was like, son of a bitch, how the fuck you do that? RoboCop just did it, just took him out, and that's the end of that. And also for the villains of this movie, there really aren't any villains in this movie, or at the very least, in the original. I know that you're getting tired of me saying that, but like comparing it to the original one, we do honestly have like, or at the very least, going from the corporate and the criminal. For honestly the corporate, for this one, they honestly just see it as like, hey man, you know, we need results. We need man to get the dude out there. We are gonna try our best because our shit, it never fails, and we're gonna just do it. In the original, it's way more of like sleaze and kind of way more something to make you hate these people, because honestly it makes you remember their names, their characters, and honestly it's something there to actually kind of like identify them as villains. Whereas like when the Ed 209s, when they were going crazy like fucking killing people and malfunctioning and shit, their response was, well, hey, you know, get it. I'm gonna get it done in a week. Fix this because honestly, I want this shipped out upon Friday. That's honestly the thing. And they saw it as a business, and honestly, you as a person would honestly look at that and be like, oh, holy shit, this thing, man, and it just blew a man away. And then just like they just said, just fuck it, just put it out there anyway. That is something which does relate this character as a villain. And honestly, even going into the gangs themselves, with the biggest gang of them killing off Murphy, how they fucking killed him was something of like, or possibly like, it was a thing of like, I actually want to see these fuckers get their comeuppance, and honestly, there was a payoff at that in the end when Murphy, he does honestly go after them and kill you know, he takes them all out. Whereas in the new one, I really don't get the thing of Michael Keaton and most of the other characters in this, because it's not necessarily a thing of them honestly trying, man, to like kill him. It's just a thing of just like, well, hey, you know, we're just using this as a face, man, to get our robot out. I mean, like, there was honestly potential there. They didn't have to be as comically evil, but however, at the same time, it wasn't necessarily evil. It was just way more of like, hey man, you know, this character's getting popular, so yeah, you know, just kind of just kill him off. Can you do that? It's like, come on, man. It's like, all right, whatever. And that's even going into the villain of the movie, or at the very least, the criminal who that Murphy has to catch. Going into him, it's mostly like, well, you know, he really didn't do all that much evil shit. I mean, really, we don't really see all that much of him anyway, or really him really doing anything evil aside from just being characterized as a mob boss or a criminal. That's about it. You know, that's kind of the only real thing. And also going into like the OCP thing again, there is Jackie Earl Hurley, the guy man who played Rorschach in God damn it, I forgot the name of that fucking comic book movie. Oh, Watchmen, and the new Freddy Krueger in Nightmare on Elm Street. He was actually in this, and he was the military guy who didn't like Murphy because he was a man in a machine. And honestly, to this day, I still don't know why he didn't like him. As soon as he saw him, he just didn't like him. It's like, I could see if, you know, he actually did something, man, to actually make him hate him or something like that. But honestly, it was a thing of like, hey, man, you're a man in a machine. I just don't like you because of reasons. I don't really get it. And also, there was the whole thing of, again, it's like, it's something which really didn't need to be there, but, or at least like it needed a little bit more context, but they really didn't put it in there. And also going into my third thing, it was the whole thing of there is no real consequence to anything like this. Again, like early on in the movie, one of the kids has a knife in his hand and goes up to the Ed 209 and tries to attack it, and then the Ed 209, he blows the kid away. And then there's the thing early on of them asking, it's like, the DA who doesn't want robots in America. He asks Michael Keaton's character, it's like, what happens if one of your robots, he shoots a kid? What does it feel? And that's a stupid ass question, but you know. And he's like, I don't know. And it's like, and honestly, it's like a thing of like, we just saw that. We just saw this robot just blow away a fucking teenager, and no one calls it out on it. It's like here's honestly the thing here. The damn thing, it could have did anything else. It could have sprayed mace in his face. It could have done anything else instead of like blowing it just like skyrocketing bullets into the kid's face until he's just a big ass blood balloon. I'm like, seriously, that could have been anything else, but they didn't do that. And honestly, that is some just like how when with the thing of Robocop shooting his gun out in the middle of public, and nobody really saying anything about that because honestly, it's like as soon as we see the character, the first thing he does is pull out his gun in a crowded area and then just shoots a man with a fucking taser gun, even though everybody else thought that even though, man, it's a super power fucking hand cannon. But I'm like, you know, it's a taser gun, and dude just did that out there in like a public area, and and honestly, the next thing, man, we see is people praising RoboCop for it, and honestly, you don't necessarily see the consequence of that, of like, you just pulled out a loaded gun in front of all these people, and you fired it within the crowd. That is something in which that you do not do, because like in the real world, that is honestly the biggest reason why man, the project, it would have been fucking scrapped. It's like this goddamn, or at least like, man, the biggest reason why we don't have robots in the fucking USA, because no matter how accurate or possibly efficient they are, you know, because, or at least like, that is honestly the biggest mistake of this movie, is the fact of they never call out mistakes in this movie. And there are a lot of mistakes in terms of, or at least like in the original, they do kind of show like that there are mistakes within the story and in the in the characters and how things play out. It's a very human and realistic feel to it. In terms of this one, it's way more artificial, in which that like everything about it, the character can just, or possibly, man, like OCP, they never make any mistakes with their programs. They never make any mistakes with the robots. Well, that's what I got to think about that. I gotta go. I'll see you guys on the next John Graham show. Please tell me what you think about it down in the comment section. I'll see you guys next time. I'm out.